course, I can't leave without saying Excelsior.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel just dropped a brand new Marvel Phase 6 trailer with a whole bunch of footage from a bunch of upcoming movies, so we'll break it all down. There's a bunch of Easter eggs here. Weirdly, they're releasing the first official, nice shiny HD footage of Harrison Ford's Red Hulk in a amalgam Marvel Phase 6 trailer. Normally, you'd think they'd just drop a full Captain America Brave New World trailer online with that in it. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I still have a bunch of D23 trailers that I haven't done videos for, and one of them does include a much longer version of this Red Hulk Captain America Brave New World trailer with a whole bunch of Avengers footage in it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Adamantium.
What I'll do is I'll just go through the trailer and talk about each of the different scenes that they include from the upcoming movies in the context that they fit in those movies. Some of the scenes are connected to each other, and some are just random scenes from particular episodes or particular parts of the movies, because some of them are from the TV shows, like Daredevil Born Again. But the full context to the trailer is that Marvel released this much larger 85th anniversary trailer for all of Marvel Entertainment, like the comic book stuff and the movie stuff. Then weirdly, they unreleased it. I don't know why they unreleased their big 85th anniversary celebration trailer, like Thanos uncelebrate this 85th anniversary. And they started the trailer with footage of Stan Lee. I think this looks kind of like it's from the 80s, not from the 70s, because there's a lot of footage from him going all the way back to the 60s. Some of you may have seen some of this Stan Lee footage in the past if you've watched interviews of his on YouTube. There's a bunch of clips of him from back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, even the 90s, talking about Marvel with other people on YouTube. And all the kids are just asking him which character at Marvel is his favorite, and he talks about how all of them are kind of like his children. Then we get voiceover from Kevin Feige talking about the history of Marvel just in general. He talks about the bullpen back in the 1960s when Stan Lee was running things early on, and how they called it the House of Ideas. They still call it the House of Ideas, but famously for a long time, that's what Marvel was known as. He gives a big shout out to some of the other titans of Marvel's early history, Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko. They flash a bunch more comic book covers all the way from the 60s to the 80s and the 90s. There's a couple more modern comic book covers they mix in there too, like the Miss Marvel comic book covers from the 2010s. Then they transition to all the Marvel MCU stuff with Iron Man 1. There's a bunch of different footage of all the historical Marvel TV and Marvel movie stuff, even stuff like pre-MCU, there's footage of the classic Iron Man series in here too. We get a little classic X-Men the Animated Series intro footage. This isn't from X-Men 97, this is from the classic X-Men the Animated Series. There was a little bit of footage from X-Men 97 Season 2 that they released at D23, but they didn't put it online, so I don't actually have that footage. Maybe I'll do a video about that if we get some more concrete actual footage online. They transition through Avengers Endgame, and we finally start getting some of the new footage from the upcoming movies and the upcoming TV shows. Then we get the scene of Daredevil Born Again with Daredevil in his new red suit. So there are 5 different suits that they debuted in the trailer. I've already done a much longer D23 Daredevil Born Again trailer, so I'll link it in the description below. It is crazy. We get a big look at the new Muse villain from the more recent comics, a whole bunch of Kingpin, and a really, really cool Daredevil fight scene. But during the series, he'll wear 5 different suits, or they imply that he'll wear 5 different suits. He has 5 different suits. These are basically what each of these helmets represent. They're meant to be the ones that he went to LA during She-Hulk to pick up from the suit maker, quote unquote. All of them are meant to be based iterations, evolutions of his suit from the original Daredevil Netflix series. Notice they're careful to focus on the red lenses in his helmet, but he had the red lenses in his original Daredevil Netflix suit too. The big thing with Daredevil Born Again is that Muse is the main villain, even though Kingpin is typically thought of as Daredevil's biggest villain. Part of the idea is that Muse is way off the map, and Daredevil and Kingpin have to find a way to work together to stop him. All the episodes will release next year, it's a big 2025 series, but they're going to be filming Season 2 really soon. It's supposed to release in 2026, so we shouldn't have to wait too long for Daredevil Born Again Season 2. In that D23 trailer, we got a whole bunch of new footage of Frank Castle, aka John Bernthal, coming back as the Punisher. He looks completely unhinged, exactly the way you would want Punisher to look. Cannot wait to see them tear stuff up. There was also a bunch of behind the scenes for the series that I did videos for when they were still filming it. He will wear his classic Punisher skull logo. A big part of his arc during the series is that you have a bunch of cops walking around in his Punisher skull logo doing a bunch of shady stuff that he's trying to stop. But overall, Kingpin is using the Muse vigilante as an example while he's become mayor of New York City to try and get rid of all vigilantes, even the good vigilantes like Spider-Man and Daredevil. Speaking of which, apparently Spider-Man 4 has changed. Kingpin will no longer be part of it, but Daredevil might still be in that movie. Generally, I would blame their plans for Avengers 5 and Avengers 6 Secret Wars on that stuff. Speaking of wars in the Marvel Universe, thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this week's video. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, available free on PC and consoles. Command over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, ships from 10 major nations, from old-timey biplanes, armored cars from the 20s to modern fighter jets and battle tanks. Immerse yourself in the intense combat of War Thunder, where detailed vehicles, realistic graphics, and authentic sound effects put you in the most powerful war machines of our time. Compete with over 70 million current players in epic PvP battles, unmatched high-quality content to discover. There's no better game for fans of military history. Sign up now using my link. I'll put it down in the description below. New and returning players that haven't played in the last 6 months can get a massive bonus pack, including an exclusive Eagle of Valor vehicle decoration, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account activity. So be sure to check it out, claim that sign-up bonus, and have a great summer of games. But the other funny thing about Spider-Man 4 is based on when they're releasing it, it might actually have to take place on Battleworld unless they just decide to swerve on trying to explain that because of when it's releasing between Avengers 5 and Avengers 6. Right now, I don't expect them to actually do the entire movie on Battleworld, like they'll find some other way of explaining around that logic problem. Because I believe at the rate that they're going, Spider-Man 4 will not come out till after Avengers 5 Doomsday, and by the time that movie ends, like when we're getting ready to lead into Avengers 6, they'll already all be on a version of Battleworld. So theoretically, any movies or TV shows that come out between Avengers 5 and Avengers 6 have to deal with that logic problem, or if they say at the beginning of the series, this takes place much earlier in the timeline, that would be the only way around that. Kevin Feige said one of the big things at Marvel is trying to avoid putting date stamps, putting like timestamps on things, just because it leads to way bigger problems later on. Everybody remembering that Spider-Man Homecoming 8 years later error at the beginning of that film. Then we get a little bit of footage of Ironheart. They did say this releasing in 2025. I just did a much longer trailer video for it that explains what's going on during the series and how it takes place after Black Panther Wakanda Forever. This is meant to be nice shiny HD footage of her in her new Mark III Ironheart suit. She wore the Mark I and then the Mark II was the vibranium Ironheart suit that she made with Shuri that she made her leave at Wakanda when she went back to Chicago and MIT. During the series, they'll pick up like right after Black Panther Wakanda Forever, she winds up getting kicked out of MIT because she basically skipped out of all her classes and her exams while she was in Wakanda. She goes back to her hometown of Chicago where she runs into Zeke Stane, Obadiah Stane's son from Iron Man 1. And Anthony Ramos is playing the Hood. He's meant to be the actual main villain of the series. But I think part of the idea is that at the beginning of the series, when she first meets Anthony Ramos's Hood character, he pretends to be a good character and says that he can help her get the funds that she needs to complete her new Iron Man armor suit. But I think part of the trajectory is that when she first meets Anthony Ramos's Hood character, he basically teases her with the idea that as long as she helps them pull jobs, like basically steal stuff from laboratories, that he'll be able to help her get the money that she needs to finish her new Ironheart suit. Terry Silver pretended to be Daniel's friend and teach him when really he was just messing around with him the entire movie. I'll post a link for like the full version of that trailer down in the description below. There's a little footage of Deadpool and Wolverine. Funny thing about this is that Robert Downey Jr. just did like a really big interview about him coming back as Dr. Doom. I posted that video on my channel yesterday, so I'll link that at the end of this. But during that larger Dr. Doom conversation that he has, he talks a lot about Deadpool and Wolverine. Then we get footage of the Thunderbolts movie. I did a much longer D23 Thunderbolts trailer, so I'll link that below too. This particular scene of them getting off the elevator is Red Guardian, Ghost, Bucky, notice he has the long hair again from Winter Soldier, Yelena Belova, and US Agent, and this is meant to be a parallel for the first Avengers movie with them getting on the elevator, that sort of jokey scene from Avengers Endgame, the Hulk hates stairs scene. The entire Thunderbolts trailer apes a lot of moments from the original Avengers movie. They're positioning them kind of like the Dark Avengers, and I think a big part of the plot of Captain America: Brave New World is involved in that. But this scene is them arriving at the top floor in the elevator of the new Avengers tower that was purchased, as they reveal, by Val. So Val bought it from Iron Man back during the events of Spider-Man Homecoming. They arrive at the top and confront Val because Val basically tried to kill them off after she finished creating the Sentry character. So the early theory is that at the end of this movie, the Thunderbolts team becomes the Dark Avengers of the MCU, and I believe they're supposed to come back during Avengers 5. There's a little new footage of Captain America: Brave New World with Anthony Mackie around all these cherry blossom trees getting ready to fight Harrison Ford's Red Hulk character after he's transformed into Red Hulk. This suit is meant to be a version of his upgraded vibranium wingsuit. So he got a vibranium wingsuit during Falcon and Winter Soldier. This is meant to be like the next upgrade from that. Everybody wondering how he is going to fight Red Hulk because he has 0 powers, just a whole lot of vibranium here. So hopefully that vibranium helps him survive for like an extra 5 seconds before he gets crushed like a soda can. I have not done a video for like the D23 longer version of this trailer. There's like a lot more Red Hulk footage and a lot more footage of Harrison Ford's Thunderbolt Ross talking about reforming the new Avengers, but doing it as like a government team. I'll try to do a video for that in the next couple of days just because my voice is still slowly healing. I was sick for like all of last week and it's still kind of on the mend. Then they cut to a scene of Avengers Endgame, the final battle, and Stan Lee cheering at a convention saying his Excelsior line. The funny thing about the Excelsior line, too, is that it's referenced during the Fantastic Four trailer, which I also did a video for from way back at Comic-Con. In that movie, the launch pad for their spaceship is called the Excelsior launch pad, but Excelsior is also the New York State motto. Stan Lee started using it as one of his classic trademark catchphrases way back in the 1960s. So for those of you wondering, there is a lot of classic Stan Lee and like real-life Marvel historical comic book references baked into the Fantastic Four movie. Then they end this Marvel Phase 6 trailer with Harrison Ford's Thunderbolt Ross turning into Red Hulk for the first time behind this giant podium as he's giving a speech as president to a bunch of world leaders. I think it's meant to be part of one of the big reveals of the movie is that the leader character from Incredible Hulk is meant to be the main villain of the film. He turns him into Red Hulk, but Thunderbolt Ross doesn't fully realize what's happened to him. So like at some point randomly in the movie, he just uncontrollably changes into Red Hulk and goes on an absolute tear, and Sam Wilson's Captain America has to find a way to stop him without killing him. Also probably because he literally cannot find a way to kill him. If you remember way back in the first Avengers movie, Bruce Banner actually revealed that he tried to kill himself multiple times, but his gamma powers stopped him from being able to die. But if you have not read the comics, there are ways to actually perma-kill the Hulk. It's just incredibly, incredibly hard to make as many Incredible Hulk puns as possible. Theoretically, there's no limit to how powerful he can get, like his gamma abilities scales as he gets madder, so the idea is that at some point in the future, we'll probably see him get madder than we've ever seen him get, and he'll become more powerful than we've ever seen him be. They start with Agatha all along. This is her slowly figuring out, with the help of Rio Vidal's character, Aubrey Plaza's character, who she really is, and she starts to break Scarlet Witch's spell because Scarlet Witch's body has been destroyed and her spirit has traveled to the Witch's Road, this other dimension. We'll be getting all those episodes pretty soon. The main function of that series is to reintroduce the adult version of Billy, aka Wiccan, one of Scarlet Witch's children, and explain what happened to her after Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and how Scarlet Witch is going to come back. The hint there is that her body was destroyed, but she herself is not dead, like her essence lives on in this alternate dimension of the Witch's Road. Her son Billy will be critical to bringing her back to the proper MCU before Avengers 5 and Avengers 6. We might get a cameo scene from Elizabeth Olsen at some point during the series. But because there's so much footage in this, if you have any questions or there's anything that you think that I missed and didn't talk about in the video, just write it below in the comments. Some of the stuff featured during this, I've already done full trailer videos for. Like I said, I'll put links for those down in the description below. A couple of these things I have not done full trailer videos for, but I'll try to do that pretty soon. Everybody click here for that full Thunderbolts trailer with the first look at the Sentry in the MCU. And click here for all those other big Marvel D23 trailers. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.